to my channel, and if you're new here, go ahead and subscribe and hit the like button. Today we are having all sorts of fun with different types of straws, because if you aren't aware of Strawgate, then you must have been living under a rock. But it was a very big thing, and a very real thing, and a very huge thing for those of us in the disabled community. And so I kind of got the idea from looking on Wish, because they had all these different types of straws that you could get, from like the metal ones, the plastic ones, glass ones, bamboo ones, silicone ones, foldable ones, like collapsible ones that are really small that you can put in your purse. So I was like, this is really interesting, because we've talked so much about, okay, well, we need to stop using the regular plastic straws in order to cut down on our plastic usage, which is a thing that needs to be done, yes. I think that it needs to be done at a corporate level rather than a personal level, because that's the only way it's actually going to make a significant difference. But that's a completely different thing. So I was thinking that I would try all these different types of straws and see what are actually good alternatives for the disabled community to use. And I'm going to talk about some of the reasons that certain ones wouldn't be good alternatives for certain disabled people, because what would work for me or what would work for my mom, who has multiple sclerosis, would be a lot different than what would work for a different type of disabled person, somebody with a different disability. So I wanted to start with the main alternative that everybody brought up during Strawgate, and that was paper straws. Everybody was always saying, like, well, there's paper straws and they're completely biodegradable and they won't hurt anything and they'll break down, and, you know, okay, that's great. But there are some drawbacks to that, and a lot of different people in the disabled community talked about this. So I picked up a package, like, it was just $1.49. It was just at the grocery store. They were selling it for summer parties, and so I got a package of them, and I wanted to do a test to see, you know, how well they hold up, but I also wanted to do a test to see how long does it take to for them to actually start to break down. So I've got just a regular glass with regular water, and I've got a glass with steaming hot water, and I'm just gonna put like 2 of them in there right now to kind of see. But to start off with, one of the biggest issues I saw brought up about paper straws was, one, they're going to start to degrade pretty fast once they're in liquid, which is a problem. The second is that they're not incredibly sturdy, and these ones are actually pretty sturdy. Like, I'm pressing down on it pretty hard, and it's just now starting to like bend and deform. So these are actually pretty well made, as opposed to some of the other paper straws that I've seen. So I'm impressed with that. But there are some disabilities that people have issues with. They tend to bite down a lot, and they need to bite down. I know for, like, my nephew who is autistic, biting is a big thing. It's one of his stims that he does. And I don't think a paper straw for anybody with like, for him, wouldn't last very long, even with it being like this sturdy. Like, that's pretty destroyed. I don't know if I get after that. I can get a little through there, but not very much. It's anybody that has to bite or has a tendency to bite due to their disability, these wouldn't work very well. And like, this wouldn't work for my nephew because he would chew on it. In fact, this wouldn't work for my son either, and he's not disabled, but he has a tendency to chew on his straws, and even just the regular plastic straws, when he has them, he destroys them within minutes because he's chewing on them and they get like this. And so for people like that, this isn't really a good alternative. But I'm just going to test it in the two different types of drinks. So I have a cold drink, and then I have a hot drink. So I've got tea in this one. And this is just a V8 Fusion, like, banana strawberry smoothie, which is good. And my son likes it, and he will drink it, which is a great dose of vegetables. So there's a parenting tip for you. It's not bad. I think it's, like, right now it's holding up its shape fine. My worry would be with it being in the water. I don't know how the liquid, I don't know how long it would. And of course we're going to be checking that as we go along. This is already, like, I think it's only been like maybe 2 minutes, or maybe even less than that, and it's already getting like kind of the way you would expect thick, like, construction paper to start to feel when it's been in water for a while, or when it's gotten wet. And this is breaking down even faster and hot. Like, it's all, like, this is even worse. Like, this feels even softer. So I think that, you know, for this idea that it would be a good alternative, I don't think it really holds up for all of these reasons. So I think for those in the abled community that want to use them, you know, by all means do. But I think maybe we need to put aside this idea that, you know, paper straws are definitely the be-all end-all of the straw alternatives for what we can do. And that when disabled people tell you that paper straws are not going to hold up for us, you should believe us. And, you know, I'm going to keep leaving them in to see how long this is going to take. This might be a little too hot still, but yeah, that was. My tongue is burnt, but that's okay. It's for science. Oh wow. That's just from drinking. That's just from one drink, and it's already, I went to like move it a little bit, the tea bags, and it just bent on me. Mom. Yeah, I am big thumbs down on paper straws. Let's move on. So it's like, what is it? It's like 1:30 a.m. the next day. And the tip of my tongue is still numb. Like, it's finally starting to go away, but that was not smart. Don't ever do that. I really should have waited. I really should have waited. That I will definitely never ever do that ever again, because that was two days of a numb tongue, and it's not a pleasant experience. And I'm hoping that tomorrow my tongue will be back to normal and all of the damage will just be done. So, oh well. So next I'm gonna actually open up this one. And I wanted to keep this in its actual packaging, one, because I didn't want it to break, and two, because I wanted to show you how Wish shipped this. Like, this is no joke. And it's got this little, like, you just kind of open it up and then, like, slide it out. And it's, like, really, like,
durable,
thick, durable, like, bubbles. This is one of the glass ones. I have a couple more and they ship these ones differently, but still in the stuff. And I think these ones are straight ones. So I've got a couple different ones. And so these are glass. And I kind of did them because I was a little fascinated that they were selling glass ones mostly. Not because I actually think that this would be a good alternative, because I don't think it would be. Mostly because I think that it would be really easy to break these, and you would not want glass shards in your drink or in your mouth or in your hand. Especially if you're the type of person who might like bite, shake, have problems with, like, you might drop it. I feel like if I like dropped it from even just here, it would probably break. Like, I don't really want to test that. Like, it seems a little durable, but I don't know. Like, I don't know. So I'm mostly just curious about it. I don't think that it would be a really good alternative, to be quite honest. It works pretty well. I think that it wouldn't be that hard to clean. And they do send, with all of these, they do send like brushes. Like cleaning brushes. So it hasn't changed much. This one's pretty broken down. It seems nice and smooth going through it. I think that if you wanted to be really fancy, this is definitely a good product for that. But I think that for the disabled community, it's probably not. And I think that for anybody with kids, it's really not. I'm trying to cool this down right now to get it to a level where I can actually like sip it. I'm mostly using this one to see like how things, like certain things like the metal ones and the paper ones will break down, or how they'll react to heat. Okay, yeah, that's better. My tongue is still numb, but that's okay. It doesn't get very hot on the outside. It's warm, but it's not hot, so that's nice. I don't know how it would be, like, it's kind of cool here, but I don't know how it would be like if it were like a frozen drink. It might get pretty cold. But like, yeah, I don't think it's a really great alternative. So this would be in my, this is great for a fancy party where people could be really careful, but not a good alternative for the disabled community, like at all. But it's nice and fancy. I don't know that I'll ever use them, but you know. And then I got these metal ones, which are kind of what you would expect to see. I mean, maybe not the colored ones, but like the, you know, the regular silver ones are kind of what you would expect to see at some of those really old-fashioned diners with the shakes and everything. And the one thing that I know is going to be an issue already starting is that these are really good conductors of heat and cold. So that's going to be an issue. Because I know that when you use these at diners and you're like drinking shakes with them, that the straws get really cold too. And this is another one that's been brought up in the debate, are metal straws. It's not bad. I'd also worry about some of the metal taste coming off. I can't really taste that right now, but that partly could be because, you know, I might have burned off some taste buds right now. It's, it's a little hard to say. It's already cool. It's kind of cold already. And I think that with a frozen drink, it would be very cold. Yeah, I can feel it hot. It's already hot. Yeah, that straw is so hot. And like, it's starting to cool down now, but like, it would not, it's not doable. As it'd be fine if you had a lukewarm drink, or you were okay with your hands getting cold. It would not work for hot drinks at all, because you could have the chance of like burning your fingers or even burning your lips if you're not careful. So I think that these could work in certain circumstances, but they're on kind of a thing. So alright, I'm going to move on to the silicone ones, which are fascinating to me. And as I said, like, see, each of these come with their own like cleaning brush, so, which I think is going to be a little bit harder to do with a silicone personally, only because it's going to like kind of bend and everything, but you know. So these are the silicone ones. There's definitely no chance of breaking them, so that's great. I don't know if they tear, but I got these nice bright pink ones. And I really don't think that they would have the problem of like conducting the heat or anything. And I don't think they'd be an issue if you had to like chew on them. They're not really hard on the teeth. So, I didn't mean to do that. You never thought that drinking could be dangerous, but with Emmy, it can be. I just got this everywhere. So great. Comes through the straw really easily. I think that as far as this one goes, oh yeah, I like this one a lot. Especially with hotter drinks, because the liquid actually comes out a lot slower in the straw. So it's not like with the paper straw where it was like I was taking the sip and then all of a sudden hot liquid all over my tongue. Like, it wasn't like that. It very slowly came up through the straw, and then it's like gently taking a sip, which is really, really nice. So, and I don't really feel any, like, there's some heat, especially from where it was actually in, but from where it comes through, it's a little warm, but that's about it. I actually really like these. I didn't think that I was going to like these quite as much as I do, just because they're so, I don't know, bendy. I thought maybe they wouldn't be as good alternatives, and maybe I wouldn't, like, maybe there would be a taste of silicone, but there's really not. And I like these. These get a thumbs up. This is a really good alternative. I like these. Next, I'm going to try the straws that break down, because I'm curious about these. And I might not use these in the hot liquid, just because, you know, the big reason I'm trying them is because of to see if they have any leaks. I haven't even taken these out of their thing yet. Whoa! There should be a warning about this. This is dangerous. Alright, so here's the first one, and it's a metal one. And I don't even, it's metal with silicone. How is this even supposed to like... Alright, so that seems normal. And is this supposed to, oh, there we go. Okay, so it's kind of flattened out in the middle, and you've got to kind of like push it so that it comes straight. And then you just kind of put things... So I was worried that this would leak, but because it's got the silicone in there, I don't think it's going to. It's fine. And this is apparently supposed to be a good alternative for, like, you know, this is one of those things that when you're done, I guess you can, you know, dry it out and then just, damn it, get everything dirty. It's fine. This is real life. No, I think that was even more. This is dangerous, but I'm a professional and I know what I'm doing. And then you just put it back in your purse. That was a little more complicated than I thought it was going to be, though. It's not bad. I mean, it's similar to just the silicone straw, but with metal on it. Whatever. This one's just a silicone one. It's just got some little, like, points here that make it so that it folds up. Which I honestly think is better than the metal, if you ask me. So I'll just do this one and this one. Works the same as the regular silicone one. And then, you know, when you're done, like, I will clean all of these out later, I promise. I'm just trying to show you the... Just take it on the go again. And it came with its own. But this one's not near as dangerous as the other one. It is not actively trying to kill me. These are the ones, now my son has a couple of cups with these, so I've been interested about them. And I think that these are the ones that I'd probably have in my purse the most for my son, probably, because I already know that they work. When he chews on it, yeah, these could break, actually. So for people with disabilities that cause them to bite down a lot, or that cause them to stim by chewing and things, I probably wouldn't recommend these. These are just a basic, like, hard plastic, reusable. It might be a little bit harder to... Oh, God, no. Yep, that broke it. Put a little crack right down it. Which, I mean, you know, so, as, you know, as far as, like, our community, I'd probably say that's not a very good alternative for it. It works, though. It works about as well as his straws do. And, I'd probably use it for my son unless his chewing on it caused it to break, and then I just call it a lost cause. I think if it were a thicker plastic, it'd probably be better. And there might be thicker plastic ones. This could be a wish issue. And maybe if I got it on Amazon, it would be better. I'm a little disappointed by that because I honestly thought that these would be one of my favorites. So I'm actually really disappointed by that. But I think for someone like my mom who has multiple sclerosis, one of her issues is that, you know, in a mug like this, or even a mug like this, or at a restaurant where you know, they bring the glass glasses. Her hands shake and she doesn't have a lot of strength in her hands. So if she were to pick something up like this, she has a very high chance of dropping it. And so she needs a straw at all times. Any sort of drink, even water, she has to have a straw. And that's at home too. No matter like what, only in the solo cups does she usually forgo the straws. And that's because she doesn't fill it all the way. But anywhere we're out, she needs a straw. And so even like this would probably work for her. It probably wouldn't be that big of a deal. But if you're the type that chews, bites down, it wouldn't work. So I would have to give that, you know, it's going to depend on your disability. My second to last one is, and I was really interested in this one, are these bamboo straws. I saw them on Wish and I was like, huh, that's fascinating. And they just look like little bamboo shoots, really. Like, they're really thick, so I don't think, like, you'd probably put some little teeth marks on them, but I don't think you'd snap them or anything like that. Like, they're at least 3 centimeters thick, I think. I think that's about right. So, pretty good. And they work, so not complaining about that. I don't really feel it warming up either. It doesn't even feel warm, like right here. I only felt a tiny bit of warmth when the liquid was passing through and then it was gone. So I don't think that this will heat up or like really cool down a whole lot while you're drinking out of it. I don't know that they come very much like longer than this, and I did not find any that were like bent like this. So if this is something that's a necessity for you, then you know you might have to look for something else. But I think that I would give a thumbs up for this one. And then the final one is something I kind of found on chance as we were going through, I think it was the dollar store. So what this is, and I think I threw the thing out. I'll pick it back up. So it's compostable straws. Composting helps divert waste from landfills, eco-friendly. And this is made by Everholder. And Everholder products of Anaheim, California. Compostable where commercial composting facilities are available. These are not traditional plastic straws. They're made from renewable plant-based material and reduce your carbon footprint. So I found them and I thought, okay, that's really interesting because they look like plastic straws. And they feel like plastic straws. Maybe not entirely the same. But for the most part, like, they just feel like plastic straws. I don't really see that much of a difference to them. There might just be a slight difference in feel, that's it. Conducts heat about the same as a regular plastic straw would, I think. And they work. I mean, they're a straw. They straw very well. And, yeah, that's pretty broken down now. I mean, you know. Yeah, I think I'm, the thing that I don't know about these straws in particular is how long does it take for them to become you know, for them to compost. I would assume that unlike paper straws, they're not just going to start breaking down in a matter of 10 minutes. And obviously we saw that the paper straw started breaking down a lot sooner than that. But, you know, I don't know that I feel anything much different right now. It just feels warmer and wet. So I don't know if it's just that I'm feeling that it's slick or that, you know, I think that's what it is. So I don't think that this would be the type of issue that, you know, you'd have with a paper straw. I am curious. Yeah, they work the same way as a plastic straw does. They're exactly the same, essentially, other than the fact that they're compostable. Like, that's basically the difference. Like, it's just the material difference. Like, that's it. So, you know, as far as, and you can just, you know, put the straw back to its normal position. I feel that, you know, this is definitely a good alternative. Let's break this down, okay? Paper straws. Don't like them. Let's not. These ones. It depends on what you're doing. My son's decided he's going to play with the paper straws. That's fine. They're a good plaything. Not great for this. Yes, you can play with them. Silicone. Hell yeah. Bamboo. Hell yeah. Glass. Let's just not. Great for fancy stuff. Disabled community. Let's just not. Not to say that, you know, if you're a disabled person and you want to. I just know myself and I know my mother. My mother would break those. And my daddy will back me up. She will break those. You want to play with them? Alright. See, this is what they're used for. They're really good playthings. Here you go. Go play with those. Metal straws. Not for hot things. You can use them for, like, room temperature and cold, but let's not do heat. Foldables. I prefer the ones that are just silicone, but these work. These are fine. If you want something a little more compact in your thing, in your purse, these work. And finally, compostable ones. Yes, they're pretty much just like plastic ones. And so that's basically how we break it down. But, like, I want to address one thing that really bothers me, though. And I think that this is a bothersome part of being disabled. All of these places that have decided that they want to become eco-friendly and are doing away with things like straws and are outlawing straws in cities and things like that. I think that it's a valiant effort to help the ecosystem. And as I said, I think it's something that needs to be done on more of a corporate level than on a personal level like this. And what I mean is companies that use such a huge amount of plastic for things like bottling and shipping and straws and things like that. Like, it needs to be done at a corporate level, and the waste that the companies are getting rid of. The biggest issue I have with that I want to bring up about doing this video is that in order to have done this video, and when all of this was coming up, and I started thinking about the fact that if my mom ended up in a restaurant and they were like, well, we don't do straws anymore, and she would be in a situation where what would she do? She wouldn't be able to do anything. Daddy or me would have to pick up the glass to help her drink, or she would be completely SOL. And the choices here in the arguments for these alternatives, in all of the talk for what the alternatives would be and how disabled people should respond to the fact that companies like Starbucks and cities such as, I think it was Seattle or Portland, had outlawed the plastic straws, that we should provide ourselves with an alternative. And I have a real issue with that, because getting all of these straws, I got them from Wish. Now keep that in mind. I got all of these from Wish. So I spent over $30 to $40 for all of this. If you want to make sure that you're getting like good quality, then you're going to be looking at places like Amazon, where in order to buy something like this, where it's like, you know, a whole thing of the bamboo straws and the cleaner, like you're probably looking at like 15 bucks. Same thing with a grouping of this. You're probably looking about 15 bucks. Same things with the silicone. And, you know, like the paper straws here were $1.49, but I didn't think that was a very good alternative. And I don't even think, well, I mean, we were at the dollar store, so we got this for $1, but in order to give ourselves these alternatives, we have to pay for them out of our own pocket. It's not the companies or the cities that are looking into creating these alternatives. It's not Starbucks who is looking into getting the compostable straws, you know? It's not the restaurants who are looking into finding bamboo straws or compostable straws, or you know, the thick plastic straws, or metal straws, or silicone straws. They've just completely decided that they're getting rid of it, and you have to be okay with that. And if you're not, then you have to spend your own money to provide yourself with an alternative, which you have to find a way to clean off or dry off in some way in order to then put back in your bag, because you're not going to leave it there because you've spent good money on it. And when you're disabled, especially when you're disabled, if you're someone like me or some of my other friends who basically, like, at this point, I don't get my disability payments anymore, because that's a whole story time. Like, we won't get into that. But when I did, like, it's not even enough to pay for housing, utilities, food, internet, and like, it's not enough for that. It's not enough to live on. And some people do. Somehow they find a way to live off of it. And it's kind of a barely thing. And like, to put the onus on us to spend our money, sometimes our disability money, to buy these alternatives, I think is really, I think that that's a real issue within this issue. Because there are people, the business people especially, who are making these business decisions to go green, to go eco-friendly, and I think that that's a really, like, it's commendable of them, but they need to be giving alternatives, and they shouldn't be making their customers, and their disabled customers especially, be spending their own money to bring in their own alternatives on top of then spending their money inside the restaurant. I think that's an issue, and I think that that is wrong, and I think that the businesses could totally find a way of investing in reusable straws, and could probably then be like, look how green we are, and could get like tax write-offs for it, honestly. And so why aren't they? Why is the onus on us? And, you know, I had to actually really like figure out like my finances that month in order to get all of these. And for some people, like, they're not going to have the finances to do that. So some of them might just be SOL, like, to a point that they can't do this. So they're just gonna stop ever, you know, they won't go to Starbucks. And if you're one of those people who's like, well, if they're that poor, they're disabled like that, well, they shouldn't even be having Starbucks, let's not have that conversation. Like, you and I don't need to talk about it, because I don't think you get it. And I'm a very opinionated woman, so, you know, if you have a problem with, you know, me speaking on that, then you and I are going to have problems later. But honestly, I think that's my biggest issue in this whole thing. Let me also mention that the straws in the purse actually take up a lot of room. It's kind of like if I were to have another wallet almost, like that's about the size, because I ended up putting in like the silicone, some of the bamboos, and some of the harder plastic ones, and it's good to have it just in case, but the fact that it takes up so much room in the purse is really annoying, especially for someone who has a lot of things in their purse, because now I have to, when I'm looking for something, I now have to like move the straws out or move the straws to the side, and that's an issue, and that's not really fair on us at all. I am glad to have done this. I'm glad to have tested all of this, and I will definitely be carrying around the alternatives that I like with me, so that when my friends and our kids are in need of something like that, we will have that alternative. But it really never should have been my job to have done it. It shouldn't have. This should have all been on the cities and on the businesses that made these decisions, and I'm sticking with that. Anyway, if you like this video, go ahead and give it a like down below. I will go ahead and put some of the links down below for some of these products. As I said, it's from Wish, so it will take you at least a month to get it if you do. But you can also find alternatives on places like Amazon. If you want more content like this, or you want more DIYs and baking and stuff, then definitely subscribe and share with your friends, because I'm awesome. I'm opinionated, but awesome. So, and I'm really not this cocky, I just pretend to be. Thank you for joining us, and have a nice, delicious day.